Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It's me, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. Can you believe it already? It's here, week 15. Oh my goodness, where does the time go? Andrew Erickson, the Undertaker, is here with me, and we're going to give you our best bets for week 15 in the NFL. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hang out with us all the time, talking NFL and all sports here, but there's a lot of NFL this time of year, plus the college football playoffs around the corner too. Exciting times for everybody. Unless, of course, you're a Notre Dame fan. Andrew Erickson and I have laid out our top 5 favorite bets, our bet of the week, and what those 2 favorite bets of the week look like together. Well, we'll just have to pair them up. It's like Love Island for NFL betting, and we're going to do it here on the program. Andrew Erickson, last week, both of us 3-2. You, my friend, are 5 over 500 for the season. I'm at 500, coming in late here on the waiver wire, right? Just kind of like sneaking in there. So I feel like we're finishing the season strong here, my friend.
Yeah, I think so as well. You know, the more that we see these teams and the more that we find out which teams are looking forward to the off season, their vacations, betting against those teams, I think we'll be in good shape.
Yes. Well, let's start in good shape here. Andrew Erickson, let's talk about your first bet of week 15. What do you have for the people?
I am going with the Chicago Bears laying 7 points at home against the Cleveland Browns. Now, Brownie's coming off a disappointing game in terms of the win-loss. Although, if you ask anyone that's a fan of Shadur Sanders, he may as well won the Super Bowl. So it's very interesting, the main takeaways from that game, because they did give
screw up our parlay last week, though.
That is also true. So
I'm still in my feelings about that.
Yeah, so a disappointing day for the Browns overall. But now you have them back on the road here against the Chicago Bears, coming off another tough loss against the Green Bay Packers, where I didn't really think that they were overmatched, and especially in the second half, they really started to run the ball effectively. Kyle Monangai looks like an absolute monster and machine that they just want to feed the ball to. I think he's going to have a monster game here in the temperatures that are projected to be feeling like 0 degrees outside. Who do you feed the ball to? A guy that profiles as a bowling ball, that when he was facing the Packers, you could see the decals flying off of the defenders because of how hard he was hitting the hole. So the Cleveland Browns, what do we know about them? They don't play nearly as well on the road as they do at home. And we just saw them give up a career game to Tony Pollard, some guy that was left for dead in fantasy football. He has a career day against the Cleveland Browns defense. And I don't think it's a coincidence, because that was the first game they played without defensive tackle Malik Collins. So going in, I kind of thought about that. I wonder what that's going to do to this run defense. And of course, it turned it into the Dallas Cowboys, Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals run defense last week. So 2 of the last 4 games for the Browns, they've given up over 184 rushing yards. So I think the Bears, who have been able to run the ball on much better defenses this season, I think they run wild here. You look at how good Caleb Williams has been at home as a favorite, 6-1 against the spread as a home favorite since the start of last season. So even the bad Caleb Williams as a rookie was good in this spot at home as a home favorite. So I want to continue to fade the Browns on the road. They failed to cover the spread in their last 8 road games against a team that held a winning record. Yes, they did cover against the Las Vegas Raiders. They suck. The Bears don't suck. They're a playoff team, or at least playoff contention type of team. So I like laying the points with the Chicago Bears. The only thing that I'm kind of hesitant about is kind of feels somewhat like a trap game, because they're facing the Packers again next week. So I know that they're really kind of chomping at the bit to get to that next matchup. But I think Ben Johnson, coming from the Dan Campbell coaching tree, what I always preach about when you're talking about betting on the Lions, are they coming off for a loss? Yes, bet on the Lions. So I think you're going to see something similar here with the Bears laying the touchdown.
Love Kyle Monangai, Jersey strong, pride of Roseland. Let's go, Kyle. All right, for me, first bet I'm going to start off with, last week, I was very much into the over in the Cincinnati Bengals game. And then the snow and all the numbers came down. And I said, why? Why are the numbers coming down? Just all the overs. Just keep going with the overs. And I was right, and I'm going to be right again this week, because Baltimore Cincinnati is going to meet up. And I don't think either team is actually bringing a defense with them. I don't know. I don't even know if they have one at this point. Baltimore defense is terrible. Cincinnati defense, we know, is awful. 51.5 is the total. I think it's too low. They're just going to flat out say it. It's just too low. Mistakes will happen. Points will be scored. I'm going over again. Joe Burrow, obviously, the 2 turnovers last week certainly hurt him. They were in a good position to win that football game, and unfortunately it got away from them. But look, I got to be honest, it would not shock me at all if the Cincinnati Bengals end up winning this game. We saw them beat the Baltimore Ravens a few weeks ago in their home turf. Will they lose to the Ravens in their home turf? I don't know. I don't care. All I know is there's going to be points. Andrew Erickson, what's your second best bet for the week?
laying the points with the Philadelphia Eagles. 11.5 feels so gross because of how bad the Eagles have played through the last 3 weeks. But they're playing the Las Vegas Raiders. And that is really why I feel quote unquote comfortable laying the points with Philadelphia. It really goes about their defense. That's really where I want to highlight because we know their offense has problems, right? Ever since Lane Johnson got hurt, they can't win as many games. They're not as effective on offense. I'm not offering any earth-breaking analysis here, but I don't know how many points the Raiders can actually score on this Eagles defense behind that patchwork offensive line. Geno Smith's not even going to play in this game. You're going to get the Kenny Pickett revenge game narrative going to Philadelphia on the road to play the team that he was with last season. I just think that this is a get right spot for the Eagles team as an entire. They need to get a win after their losing streak. And you look at the Eagles when they've actually covered spreads, basically since the start of the last couple seasons, it's really been more about their defense than their offense. 19, 5, and 2 against the spread when their defense allows fewer than 20 points. That's 72% against the spread. Last week, they didn't cover because they gave up more than 20 points. Do the Raiders score 20 points this week, Joe?
I'm gonna go hard no.
Okay, so that's
Kenny
what
Pickett.
we're working with here. The Raiders have been worse on the road, 2-4 against the spread, and when you look at the games that they didn't cover, blowouts. Like this is one of the teams that's been blown out by double-digit touchdowns in multiple games this season, and I just really think that the betting gods are going to have something to say after the Raiders covered the game last week with that field goal attempt by Pete Carroll. So if you lost money betting on the Broncos last week, I think it's time to double down against the Raiders. Get your money back. Bet on the Eagles.
There you go. There you go. Get your money back. All right, next one for me. Speaking of the Denver Broncos, Denver and Green Bay are going to lock up, and I think this one's going to be real tight. I think a lot of people, going to be looking to the Denver Broncos, but I'm going to be looking on the other side. Green Bay is favored now. This was 2.5. Now it's -1.5. I'm going to take Green Bay with the -1.5. I think Jordan Love's playing some of his best football, limiting the mistakes. You got to love to see that. They have a run game. That's a good thing. That's important there when you travel to Denver. And I know it's a tough place to go in and win. But we've also seen Denver struggle at times offensively. And I think, especially at home, that's been kind of their MO. Ever since week 1, going back to that Titans game, they've just had some weird games at home this year. And look, they end up pulling out a lot of them because obviously they're the number 1 seed. But I think they're ripe for the picking here. I really do. I think the momentum here the last couple of weeks is growing for the Green Bay Packers. Huge win against the Lions 2 weeks ago on Thanksgiving. Huge win last week at home in division. They're rolling right now, right? They played these 2 in-division games. They're feeling good about themselves. These out-of-conference games can get a little weird sometimes. Like, I got nothing but respect for both these defenses, especially the Denver defense. But at the end of the day, I'm going to look at the quarterback situation here. And I think Jordan Love can make enough plays here to end up winning this football game. So I like the Green Bay Packers here with this -1.5 against practically a pick 'em. That's where I'm landing on this one. Let's get to number 3 on your list. Andrew, what do you have?
Well, we are hand-holding on this particular pick here with the Arizona Cardinals and Houston Texans going under the total at 42.5 points. Go figure. A game featuring the best defense in the NFL that we're going to bet the under in because it's not in the 30s. Yeah, let's do it. I just don't see a path where, unless it's full garbage time for Jacoby Brissett dropping back 60 times to will his way to get this game over the total, I think that this game flies under. That's really been the theme with Houston Texans defenses this season as a home favorite, dating back to last season. 1-8-1 for the total. There's been one game that has gone over the projected total when played in Houston, especially when they're as a home favorite. So the Cardinals are going to be without Paris Johnson Jr., it looks like, the starting left tackle for their offensive line. And I will give some credit to the Cardinals. They have played in a lot of more closer games than most people would give them credit for. So again, my best bet's not to lay or to catch the points here with the Cardinals plus 9.5, but technically, they do qualify for a close your eye special, which is why I am terrified to bet on the Houston Texans. And I just think the best bet to make when it comes to Houston is bet on their defense, shutting out the opposing offense, and that the game is going to go under. Because I do think that Arizona is going to keep this closer than the 10 points suggest. And that usually means, hey, this game's probably going to go under the total. So under 42.5, I think this one's a layup.
Yeah, I look back at a lot of the Texan scores over the last 10 weeks, and you see a lot of ugly numbers for their opponents, as you were saying, especially in their own building, right? And they play really tough there. However, the ones, time that they do kind of, go over those numbers or give up more points is to more of the division opponents, right? And I think that just comes from familiarity, right? Understanding, these teams are built to play each other. So I kind of throw that out the window and I look at all these other ones where they play the, non-division teams, the out-of-conference teams, and it's the same story every week. I mean, you're looking at 18s and 16s, and like that's what you're looking at. Now it's rubbing me the wrong way because I got to play Jacoby Brissett possibly in a league this week, so I don't love this. And if there is somebody that has still continued to put up fantasy points in situations where it should not be good, it's been Jacoby Brissett. But this ain't fantasy, this is wagering, and I'm with Andrew. I'm going to go the under here, the 42.5. Don't have a lot of confidence in a huge output necessarily from the Texans offense either, but I think that defense is good enough to hold them and keep this one close there. So we are hold-handing on that one. Also, if you want more help with all of your wagering, head out to our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. Well, not now. Wait till after the show's over, obviously. But if you're enjoying sports betting, whether it's NFL, NBA, MLB, doesn't matter. We've got it all here. And, of course, college football playoffs ramping up soon, too. So if you want some insight and help with that, talk to some of our expert handicappers like Matt Peralt over on our Discord. Again, bettingpros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. You get picks. You get insights. That's what you want here. And you get to hang out with a lot of people who love sports wagering. And if you're watching this, so do you. So again, subscribe to the YouTube channel and go head to our Betting Pros Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. All right, next up here, look, Jets are down to their third quarterback, Andrew. I'm going to keep this one simple for my fourth pick. The New York Jets traveling to Jacksonville. A couple weeks ago, I told y'all to bet on the Jacksonville Jaguars to win that division. If you listened, you're loving life right now. I hope you listened because the schedule was laid out. They did exactly what I needed them to do. And now they get the Jets. The Jets are defeated. The Jets are done. You want to talk about, what the Las Vegas Raiders might be able to put up in terms of points? You think they're going to score 10 points, the Jets, this week, Andrew Erickson? What do you think? Think they put up 10?
I think that they're more likely to put up 10 than the Raiders.
Yeah, on the road against Jacksonville with a third-string quarterback? I don't think so. I'm not buying it. So give me the under 42. I think Jacksonville puts up a good 27 in this game, and they just kind of float through. Even if they do give up 10 to the Jets, so what? That's 37, still well under the 42. So I think it's a very one-sided contest. Andrew Erickson, you are going to a big rivalry game here in the AFC West. Kansas City, Chargers. Let's talk about those two teams and what you have in store for them this week.
Yeah, the Undertaker came out to play in week 15 because I'm going with another game total going under 41.5 points, Chargers and Chiefs. What else do we need to see from this Chiefs team to realize that this is a defensive team? 1-6 towards the over at home this year, 40 points per game, 5 straight unders for the Chiefs at home this season. And Joe, do I need to convince you about this Chargers offense and how broken it looks with half of their team injured? The offensive line is in shambles.
It's as broken as Justin Herbert's hand.
I mean, give credit to Justin Herbert. The guy's been an absolute warrior going out there, but should he even be playing right now? This guy can't protect himself, and the Chiefs need this win so badly to just have a glimpse of a playoff hope for them. So they know they need to throw everything at the Chargers coming off a short week, a battered team. It's interesting. This is from per next gen stats. Justin Herbert has taken 106 quarterback hits this year. Mahomes has been hit 93 times. That's tied for the most and second most of all quarterbacks taking hits this season. So both teams are doing a terrible job of protecting their quarterbacks. Now, again, it's been a lot of injuries. Both teams' offensive lines have just been devastated by injuries. It looks like the Chiefs might get one of their starting guards back this week, but still a major problems at the tackle positions with more injuries. So it's interesting. The Chargers and Chiefs, before their game in Brazil, which was in week 1, which went over the total by 1 point, the last 4 matchups between the Chargers and Chiefs, 4 straight unders. 2 top 10 red zone defenses going at it. I'm taking the under.
All right, I'm with you. It looks like you and me are both holding hands here in a lot of the unders here. I can tell you that right now. And boy, a lot of offensive lines need to be remade. I hope the college draft is going to be bountiful because the Raiders need a whole offensive line. Chiefs need some help there. I think the Chargers need to get healthy next year. That's really just been bad luck in terms of the health on that one. All right, so 5th pick for me and the final one. This is not a homer pick necessarily because I'm very tough on my own teams, tougher than most people are. But with extra time to prepare and the Buffalo Bills kind of feeling themselves a little bit traveling to New England, I think this is a game that's going to be about physicality. And I don't know if the Buffalo Bills are up for the task. I know the New England Patriots are. I absolutely know that. The New England Patriots play a brand of football that's more reminiscent of I don't know, 1999 than it is 2025. You don't see a whole lot of it. And it's not dirty football. It's just clean and it's hard hitting. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to grind the Buffalo Bills down yet again. I'm sure it's going to be a close game. Josh Allen is going to make plays because that's what Josh Allen does. I think the supporting cast is still suspect. I think the defense is still suspect. And Drake May is playing his best game right now. That's what he's doing. He's playing his best football at this stage of the game of the season. And I think that goes without saying. I also think there's a chance, people are talking about, well, he hasn't had a 300-yard game yet, even though he's leading the league in passing yards. How about this week? How about Drake May going for 300 against the Buffalo Bills? Because we all know you can. We all know that defense is not that great, okay? We've seen it time and time again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the New England Patriots on the money line plus 107. That is my fifth and final selection for my best bets of the week. Andrew Erickson, as the Undertaker, I can only assume you got another under up your sleeve somewhere.
Yeah, and this is one that I did not expect to be on the betting card this week, but I'm going under 55.5 points between the Detroit Lions and Los Angeles Rams. Just to make sure, to be clear with people, this is not at Ford Field, okay? So this is not at the Coors Field of the NFL. Now, it is still in a dome. It's in Los Angeles, but that makes a big difference for me. So one of the things I've been looking at and attacking this year has been the lasso lag trend, where you fade the team the week after they play the Dallas Cowboys. Worked last week, right? Chiefs against the Cowboys, monster total, a ton of points. What do they do the next week? Lay an absolute dud against the Houston Texans, right? And I look at this Rams defense and I think, this is like a top 5 defense. So why is this total 55.5 points? Well, it's Jared Goff in a dome. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just going to go over the total. And I just don't see that playing out here. So teams after facing Dallas, 2-1-9 towards the over in the following week. Yeah, that is the lasso lag, and it has been a very profitable trend to bet on this season. So that's one reason to bet the under in this game. Number 2, it's just a monster number. It's actually the highest number we've had this year, beating the Cowboys and Lions game from last week, which, again, Dallas Cowboys defense, not the same as the Rams defense. In fact, both of these defenses, the Rams and the Lions, are both top 5 in DVOA. That doesn't line up at all with what this projected total is at 55.5 points. Now, I understand the Lions have been dealing with some injuries, but schematically speaking, they're a sound unit, and they still have Aiden Hutchinson as a game wrecker, as a pass rusher. So I still think they can make some plays defensively. You look at the Rams at home as a favorite, 1-8 towards the over. They've played one game that has gone over in Los Angeles when they've been a home favorite, because it's typically a spot where they get super overvalued because, they're in a dome. Well, they don't have home field advantage. So I think that this game is going to go under 55.5 points. Again, it can still be high scoring for fantasy purposes, but 55.5 is just a monster total. The last 4 games between the Lions and Rams, all were projected to be 50-point plus shootouts. You know how many went over the total, Joe? 0 of them.
0.
Yep,
yeah,
0 of them.
Yeah.
And 3 of them were Jared Goff versus Sean McVay matchups. So McVay knows how to rattle Jared Goff, especially when it comes to putting pressure on him. The Lions' offensive line is dealt with a bunch of injuries. I think the Rams can get after Jared Goff here and rattle him a little bit. So I'm taking the under.
Yeah, it's funny. Before the show started, I said, really? You're taking the under in that game? You said, oh, just wait. And you didn't disappoint me. You had
brought the heat, baby.
You brought the heat, baby. You always do. All right, let's get to our Hard Rock best bets of the week. And remember, Hard Rock is the sponsor of our shows here. And this is the holiday season, and there's lots of sports to be betting on. We got Week 15 football, we got bowl games, NBA, college hoops, hockey. We got it all. And of course, if you bet $5 over at Hard Rock Bet and you win, not only do you get your winnings, but also 150 in bonus bets. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So why don't you bet on one of these things? How about the Baltimore at Cincinnati over 51.5? I told you, every time these two teams get together, there's just oodles of scoring. So much scoring. You're going to love all the scoring you're going to find there. And on top of that, again, no defense. I've seen enough of the Baltimore Ravens defense this year to know that they have holes all over their place. And if they're made of Swiss cheese, then the Cincinnati Bengals is made of brie, which just melts. Melts as soon as they get out there, room temperature at very best. So I'm going to take the Baltimore-Cincinnati over. Last week, my over was the Cincinnati game, and we cashed that one. So I'm going to keep rolling that over 2 weeks in a row. Andrew Erickson, what is your best bet for Week 15?
Laid it all out. Under 55.5 points between the Rams and the Detroit Lions. The lasso lag. Trust the process.
There you go. Trust in the process. And again, go over to Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app. Download it. It's the only legal sportsbook in Florida. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan. Coming soon to a state near you. So what are you waiting for? Download the app. Bet $5. Get 150 in bonus bets when that first bet hits. Plus your winnings only at Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. All right, let's take a look at when we put our two favorite bets together of the week. Well, we've got the over in the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. We got the under in the Rams-Detroit. So that's a good time. You get those two things together, you get plus 278. And I have hit the upset special 3 weeks in a row. Last week, it was Jacksonville. I'm on fire right now, Andrew. Don't get too close. Don't stand too close. You might get burned. And I'm going to continue on with my narrative about the New England Patriots at home, winning this game, winning the division, putting an end to the Buffalo at the top of this division for the last 5 years narrative, because I think that window is shut. Now, look, Buffalo Bills are still going to be a playoff team. They're still going to be hanging around, but I just don't think they can play as physically a style of football that it's going to take to win this kind of game in December in New England. And I think that crowd is going to be ramped up for this game in a way they haven't been ramped up since Tom Brady was under center. And I think it's going to be a very special moment. Mike Vrabel has already shaved the mustache. We're on to December. We're on to Buffalo. Good things are going to happen here. This is the game of the week, man. This is the one to watch. I'm telling you, there's a lot of good games this week. And of course, we want you to be using the tools of BettingPros to help you bet smarter on them, not harder. So download the BettingPros app, sync your sportsbooks for free, track all your bets, and use the tools to help you maximize all of your bets. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.